blindside protector for Patrick Mahomes, with Kingsley Suamataia to be on track to be the left guard. And even though they signed Jalen Moore in the offseason in free agency, he will now look to be the first backup in case something goes wrong with the offensive line. But the Chiefs love what they see from Josh Simmons so far, and Patrick Mahomes could have more protection than he had at any point last year from that left tackle position.
Yeah, I know people are like, left tackle, it's such an important position. Do you really want a rookie there? Josh Simmons really is the real deal. So I love the context that you gave there. Thanks so much for joining us. All right, we welcome Bill Barnwell into our group with Courtney and Kevin here. Bill, I'm going to go to you first. Do you think the Chiefs made the right moves to fix their O-line?
It's risky, right? I mean, they had to make a change. Left tackle was a mess for them last year with Suamataia and Wanya Morris struggling. But I can't think of a less experienced blind side of your offensive line protecting a Hall of Famer in a year where a team's trying to compete for a Super Bowl. It's not just Josh Simmons left tackle, and I agree with you, Laura. That's a very talented player, a really promising rookie. But move to left guard. Kingsley Suamataia has one career start at left guard. He played left guard in college. He did not play left guard last year at the very end of the season. Jalen Moore, who they brought in, and they said is going to be their kind of utility player. Well, he's never played in the NFL start of the game at left guard. So you're looking at the left side of the line where maybe, ideally, they've combined for one career NFL start at their respective positions. I'm not saying it's not going to work, because I trust Andy Reid, I trust Andy Heck, I trust the Chiefs' offensive staff. But gosh, it is risky when you have a Hall of Famer in the prime of his career where any year you don't win the Super Bowl is a disappointment.
Yeah, I worry about, there's so much shuffling on the left side of the offensive line. They tried Suamataia at left tackle. That didn't work out, so they're trying to have him replace Joe Thuney, who was a huge part of the interior of this offensive line last few years. Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, and Trey Smith. 85% of the team's offensive plays over the last 4 years, those three have been intact. It's a problem when you take away your perennial all-pro left guard and move him to another team in Chicago. But I think with Josh Simmons, we saw how bad that left tackle spot was, what a weak spot it was throughout last season, and certainly in the Super Bowl. No pressures, 153 pass block snaps for Simmons last year. That's why he rose to the level of being a first-round pick. Yes, there is injury concern, but when you think about what Patrick Mahomes needs at this stage of his career, there's not much that he cannot do. But to not fix the weakest link on this offense, that he can make, hay with just about anything. He can dink and dunk his way to a championship. It's the protection up front that I think they absolutely had to address. They made the right moves in doing it, but I still have questions about how that left side's going to shake out.
Chiefs fans, cover your ears for a second. Last year, Patrick Mahomes was contacted or hit. Contact is a technical term, 158 times, top 5 in the league. That number has increased every single season in 2019, double what it was almost in 2019. That is astounding, and it can't happen with a guy who's on a $500 million contract and is the franchise, basically. Okay? He's the CEO. He's the governor of Missouri, all right? And so I'm looking at this, and I'm saying the number one thing that Patrick Mahomes needs to do to get back to being the best quarterback in football by a wide margin, because the margin is getting slimmer every single year, is the deep ball, the thing he had 3-4 years ago that was absolutely magical to watch. That requires, A, an incredible offensive line, and B, holding on to the ball for longer. He used to be the best quarterback in football and holding on to the ball for 2.5 seconds. Now he's somewhere in the 20s, depending on the metric you go for. Josh Simmons, getting in there, being healthy. The league thinks he's a steal as long as he is healthy and can play in week 1. It seems like it's trending towards health. As long as that happens, everybody's back in position. Mahomes can be Mahomes again.
It's interesting buying him a little bit more time that you're mentioning there. If you think about it, he's been running for his life, right? He was sacked 6 times in last year's Super Bowl despite not facing a single blitz in the game. He's sensing pressure that may not even be there. All right. Let's see what they end up doing. It's going to be fun to watch. Coming up, the news of the day. We're back to it. Micah Parsons.
The organization, how he's been treated this offseason, and the fact that he now would like to be traded. He officially made that request today to Stephen Jones, saying that he no longer wants to be in Dallas. And in less than 24 hours, he becomes the second standout NFC East player to request a trade from his team. Of course, Micah Parsons has been looking for a new contract, and in a lengthy statement in which he spelled out a lot that has transpired this offseason, he said he met with Jerry Jones to discuss what he thought was going to be a leadership role that somehow turned into a negotiation in which the Dallas Cowboys felt like they had a deal, but when Micah Parsons had his agent call the Cowboys informed his agent they had a deal, and the agent said, there's no deal. Micah never agreed to anything in writing, never saw any proposal, and so here we are today. There's been no meaningful dialogue all offseason since that time between the two sides. Micah Parsons has heard Jerry Jones' public comments about him getting hurt. He doesn't want to be there anymore. He's officially requested a trade. And in the end, it's just more drama in Dallas.
Yeah, Adam, I want to quickly follow up on what you just brought up there about Micah detailing this interaction between Jerry Jones that then didn't result in an actual deal, wasn't involving his agent. That seems very unprecedented to me, and a little interesting that he would pull the curtain back like that. Do you see anything coming out of that part of this?
Listen, the Dallas Cowboys have a decision to make, and they have not been prone to trade Pro Bowl players before. And if you look at the Dallas Cowboys since Jerry Jones purchased them in 1989, there has been only one instance, Laura, in which they traded a player coming off a Pro Bowl season, and that was safety Thomas Everett back in April of 1994. They traded him to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a fourth-round pick. With all due respect to Thomas Everett, who is a superb player for the Dallas Cowboys, he's not Micah Parsons. He's one of two players in NFL history to have at least 12 sacks in his first 4 seasons, the other being Reggie White. We are talking about an elite pass rusher, one of the best, if not the best, young defensive talent in the game, who's only 26 years old. Jerry Jones wants to win now, but he's got a problem with his single best player. And now it's up to the Dallas Cowboys to figure out a way out of it, in much the same way the Cleveland Browns had to grapple with Myles Garrett earlier this offseason when he issued his trade request.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that happened, and then now you see Myles out there just at training camp with the Browns. Adam, stay right there. We're coming back to you on Terry McLaurin, but first, let's get Bill Barnwell's thoughts on this whole situation with Micah Parsons. We have not had you weigh in yet, Bill, so go ahead. What do you think? What's your instant reaction to all this?
Laura, it's not surprising that the Cowboys are waiting until the last possible second, but what makes this so frustrating, beyond the Micah Parsons trade request, is that from the Cowboys' perspective, this process of waiting until the last second to get deals done not only has not worked or saved them money, it has cost them money and cost them the ability to put that money towards other players outside of the organization. Think back to the Dak Prescott negotiations, the first time he needed a deal. They could have got that deal done for less than $40 million years earlier. Instead, they waited and gave him $40 million and a no-tag clause. They could have got it done maybe for $50 on this last deal. Instead, they waited until the last second and had to pay him $60 million. They waited on CeeDee Lamb. They waited on Zeke Elliott. Those deals, if they get done earlier in the cycle, if they get done with better comparables, the Cowboys save money. If the Cowboys do a Micah Parsons deal last year, which Micah Parsons said he was willing to do when the top of the market was much less than it is now, they save $7, $8, $9 million a year. That's money you can put towards other players on your roster, and the Cowboys have not been willing to do that with no real benefit in return beyond upsetting their players and making them feel frustrated. And the part that I find so frustrating about all this, Laura, is think about the way we talk about the Cowboys. They are a banner franchise. So the team we probably talk about the most here on ESPN. The teams who trade away young superstar defenders are frankly not the highlights of the NFL. It's the Jets trading away Jamal